Yo, 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 what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome back. Third intermission. We are here. The preseason is finally over. Regular season hockey is about to resume this week. It's your boy Avery here in the host chair, filling in for Mr. Dave Barnett. I got a few of our regulars here on the show. We got Jason and Troy in the cut. Jason's on his way home right now, but we got Troy here right now. Troy, what's going on, sir?
Not too much. Just hanging out with the kids in the living room. Wifey's outside watching Jocelyn's cabaret, so I figured I'd come in here, hang out with the kids, and hang out with you guys for a little bit. It's
Hey.
uh, it's been an interesting weekend at my place of employment, but yeah, we'll we'll see how everything plays out in the next couple of days.
There
Uh,
you go. I know Jason's on his way home, so when he gets home, I'm sure he'll check in when he gets back to the crib. But this is a week in which, hey, you Torontonian people, like I said last week, stay safe. Try to get those Vibe Cartel tickets. Yo, stay safe. Don't be beaten. Don't be in no fights out there. There's more to go around. I think they're still out there, but on a Sunday recapping things and ready for the regular season, and finally the next time at least play hockey, it'll be for Montreal Canadiens. What are your thoughts on the Leafs preseason? And what are your thoughts going into the first game of the year against the Habs on Wednesday?
well, I I'd like to see what the finalized rosters are first to see
Yeah.
who's made it and who hasn't. But it's every year we open the season against Montreal, so I mean, like it's a big game no matter what. Like you should always be able to, as players, you should always be able to get up for rivalry games such as this. Um, again, like it's hard to pinpoint for me. Again, mostly because like I haven't seen any of the preseason games just due to my work schedule. So I don't really know how the Leafs have gelled together. I guess through the mix and match lineups. Um, I imagine that they'll announce probably tomorrow, if not later tonight, what who's made the roster and who's being sent down. Um, this is a season of big things for the Maple Leafs. This is the first season in quite some time where they're opening a season without Mitch Marner. They need to be able to define who they are without him. Um, more I feel like it's a cliche to say that people need to step up. I mean, it's a roster of 23 guys. Everybody has to step up. Um, I think it's an opportunity for other players to shine, other players to um, create moments for themselves, to give the coaching staff um, a reason to not send them back down or anything like that. Um, Based on the offseason moves, I think this roster is still fairly well constructed. Do minor tweaks need to happen? I would say not yet. Again, because regular season hasn't started, so you got to give it a couple games to see how things are happening. But overall, I'm still pretty confident that we will be playing for division title again this year. Obviously, a couple of the teams to beat out are, your cheating Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, um, and there are other teams that are poised to make some noise, including the Ottawa Senators. Do I think the Senators will make the playoffs? Probably not, and this will be my second straight season ragging on them because Phoenix is no longer a thing. So my attention has turned to them. Um, but again, I don't want to discredit the Montreal Canadiens because they're no slouches either. Patrick Laine, Ivan Demidov, Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, those are all key core pieces for them that are always ready and willing to do damage and capitalize off of your mistake. So I think on Tuesday night, as long as we can um, contain them and the rest of the team, get plenty of shots, hit anybody that's not wearing your jersey and that's not wearing a Maple Leaf jersey and that's not wearing stripes. I'm not advocating for anybody to go up there and truck stick the referee because it'll get you in a load of trouble. But I think I think Craig Berube already has a game plan in place, and as with any game, really, as long as you follow what the game plan is and execute it to near flawlessness, I don't think there'll be very many issues surrounding the Maple Leafs this time.
Mhm. No, it shouldn't be. And one thing you mentioned, Craig Berube, Troy, he was a big fan of Ethan Cowan's play, and it appears Cowan's going to make this roster. What are your thoughts on Ethan Cowan as someone who Berube clearly has an eye on, and clearly he feels he can be a guy who can jump into this roster on opening night?
For Easton Cowan, I feel like he probably should have been on the roster from last year. I think just due to circumstances and the salary cap, especially, it definitely held him down, kept him back from being a regular main roster player. Um, I feel like he if they were willing to hold on to him for so long and not include him as like a bargaining chip in any kind of trade and things like that, I think that shows the confidence that the organization has in him. And I fully believe that he deserves a shot at the big time and show what he's capable of. We've got lots of talented players in the farm system. I think he's one of those who has definitely stepped up his game and tried to learn the pro game a little bit more. Um, do I think he deserves a roster spot over Nick Robertson? Probably. I feel like there's more to Cowan's game than Robertson. I mean, like, granted, don't get me wrong. I don't think Nick Robertson is a terrible player. I think he's a fantastic player. I just think that his inconsistencies are too consistent to stay in the lineup. Um, I don't feel like he was in the wrong asking for a trade, but at the same time, you have to prove your worth at the same time. I mean, like he's a brilliant offensive player, but I mean, sometimes I feel like he gets a little bit lost on defensive assignments. He does put points on the board when he is in the lineup, but I don't know. I think with a little bit of roster shuffling here and there based on who you're playing night in and night out, Robinson may get a few cracks in the lineup, but I think it's Ethan Cowan's time. Um, to let people know, like, hey, I'm here. Like, could he be a replacement for Marner? Maybe, but you gotta give him that chance to show it first.
Hmm. And Jason, you want to jump in on this preseason talk and Ross talk as well, buddy?
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure. So I watched a couple preseason games, and I definitely liked the chemistry that Berube put together on the fourth line with Lawrence, Lawton, and Cowan. And I think in order for Cowan to gain success, he has to have that pressure to push himself to play up the lineup. So you start at the bottom on the fourth line and you play with guys that don't play 25, 30 minutes a game, that do important things, which is try to keep the puck in the offensive zone and try to create pressure to give the other top guys a chance to put one in the back of the net, kill penalties, and be two-way hockey players that are aggressive and smart. And Easton Cowan has a special IQ about him because he knows where to put the puck and he knows where to be in certain situations. And we've seen that in one preseason game. I think there was a line with Lawton, Lawrence, and Cowan that had like almost 8, 9 points between the three of them. Lawrence had 2 goals, a couple apples. Lawton's had 2 goals, a couple apples, and Cowan had an apple. So that line was building good chemistry, and I like it as a fourth line for the regular season. But now Lawton is injured, lower body injury week to week, according to the Maple Leaf staff. So we kind of got to figure out what we're going to do with the fourth line. The third line, I don't like because of the fact that they put Mateus Michelli on the third line. He doesn't belong there. I think Michelli belongs on the first line with Nyes and Matthews as a playmaker, someone who knows what to do with the puck in certain situations, who's able to get the puck to the shooters so that the shooters can shoot and score. You need somebody like that as opposed to Domi on the first line because Domi, he is a pit bull. He's a good hockey player, but he just has this dumb mentality about him and he takes stupid penalties. Machelli's not going to do that. He's going to try and set Matthews up to score because he was brought in here for a third round pick to bring playmaking ability that left when Mitch Marner walked out the door and turned his back on Toronto. So I kind of like Michelli on the first line versus the third line. I don't know how I feel about McMahon just yet. And Domi should be on the third line with Roy and Joshua. But like I said, Lawton going down. Now you got to rearrange this till Lawton gets better. So I kind of don't know what our opening night roster is going to look like, Troy, to tell you the God honest truth, because I've been trying to pay attention as much as I can. It was good to see Robertson score in Detroit that way, how he scored that slap shot goal, just a few feet off the blue line. You know, you want to see that from Nick Robinson. I do feel he's going to get a couple of games. But in terms of your question, Avery, if Easton Cowan is going to make the roster, 125 million%, yes. Not only is he going to make the roster, but he's going to get looks on the power play. He's going to get looks on the penalty kill. And he's going to get looks on the top line with guys like Matthews and Nyes. He's going to get looks with Nylander and Tavares as well, because they got to figure out if he's going to be that next two left wing or if he's going to be that centerpiece that falls behind Matthews, that falls behind Nylander and Nyes and Tavares, a reliable source that they can trust and count on. But I like the goaltending as well. Stollers, he looked good in the preseason. I think the first game in Detroit, he had 47 saves, which is impressive, you know, for a preseason game. So, and he looked focused. He looked relieved, is what I could say after signing that deal. What was it? 3.75 million over 4 years. Highway robbery by a tree living there, but it was a good deal, and he looks good. My only worry is, okay, you brought in Reimer, but you know, like, what are you gonna do after Reimer? Like, we have 3 back-to-backs in October, I think. I think it's 2 or 3, and you're gonna need a goaltender that can play NHL minutes to kind of alleviate the workload off of Stollers if Joe Wall doesn't come back. So yeah, Troy, I'm all right with the way the roster looks for opening night. It just sucks and it's unfortunate that Lawton got injured. But our AHL team, the Toronto Marlies, they have some bodies on there. Jacob Quillen, Alex Nylander, Logan Shaw, and Luke Hames, a young college kid. And for those who don't know, Quillen played against Matthew Nyes in the Final Four for Quinnipiac and ended up scoring the game-winning goal against Matthew Nyes and that stacked Minnesota team in the Frozen Four that year. So we do have good pieces that are NHL ready. But my thing that I'm worried about the most is the goaltending for sure, because you can't just ride Stollers all October. You cannot do it. No goalie can sustain that type of pressure. This is not 1982, 83, 84, 85, where one goalie would play 75 games, 82 games. It's not like that, man. Real shit.
Yeah, Jason, you brought up goaltending, and I definitely agree with you. Where like you can't be writing Stolarz for 50, 60 plus games. Like I don't think any goaltender has played any more than like 60 or 65 games in a season in several seasons. My question to you: so assuming that Stolarz is the starter on Tuesday night, who's his backup? Is
I
it going to
think
be Hildeby or is it going to be Reimer?
I think what they're gonna do, just for like paper transactions and roster spaces and stuff, because you got to remember too, David Camp just cleared waivers, and today they put up a couple guys on waivers. I can't remember who, but they put a couple guys on. I know Pizzetta was one of them, and I think there were a few more guys that went on waivers too. And they put Camp on waivers and he cleared, so we know Camp is going on the fourth line. You know what I'm saying? But to answer your question, Troy, before I get too far ahead of myself, I think Reimer is gonna back up Stollers until they can figure that part out. I think Hill the Beast is ready, but he's not. I think some with goalies you can't like rush goalies. Is one position in hockey you can't rush is a goaltender. You have to like let them develop. Even though you see that star potential and they display it night in and night out, you know what I'm saying? In developmental, you still gotta let them grow and develop properly in order for them to be successful. It's rare to see like goalies come in right away and just have an instant impact. Like most goalies go through developmental, struggle a little bit, and then they start to excel. the rare case is Jordan Binnington. That was rare. That doesn't happen all the time. That was a Cinderella story that will never be able to be written again that way with that St. Louis Blues team and based off of where they were when they called Binnington in and where they ended up, which was a Stanley Cup winner. But I do feel Troy, I do feel Avery as well that yeah, I think it's gonna be Reimer to back up Stolers. I like the defensive core, although I don't know who's gonna be the seventh defenseman. I kind of thought Danford was gonna sneak in there as well as an underrated defenseman that kind of plays like Chris Tanev, big, plays the body, can shoot the puck, can make a good breakout pass. IQ is high as well, but I guess they want him to develop a little bit more, which is right. They put Henry Thurn on waivers as well. So if Thurn clears waivers, he has a good chance. You know what I'm saying? But ideally, you want to go with what you know, and Philip Myers. So I think Philip Myers will be the seventh defenseman. So the way I have it, Nyes, Matthews, Machelli, how it should be. I have it McMahon, Tavares, Nylander. It should be Joshua Roy Domi. With the injury to Lawton, you just insert Camp. And then after you insert Camp, you have Lawrence, Camp, and Easton Cowan Avery. What are your thoughts, buddy?
Look at this Leafs roster. Someone who I look at this Leafs roster, who I'm curious about in terms of how he's going to click in Toronto, is Matias Maccelli. Someone who I had a great run before in Arizona and later with the Utah Hockey Club. He's someone who I think if he can find a way to click in Toronto's top six, or if need be a third line guy, he's someone who can give this Leafs team, I believe, look at 20 goals this season here. He's someone has potential who had potential to do that in Arizona. If he can do it on a more skilled team in Toronto, that should be a really good look for his Leafs club in my mind, guys.
Yeah, like I said, that was highway robbery by Brad Treliving, man. He got Machelli for a third round pick, and that was the guy you needed to bring in. And then I seen a graphic floating across Twitter and on the internet that like Roy Joshua and Machelli, I think, had more or the same amount of points as one Mitch Marner. So you know what I'm saying? I'd rather have three guys, you know what I mean, and two out of the three that play hard, that are physical, that are big, that will go in the corners, and Roy, he's a great centerman. He has a cup pedigree underneath him. Like he's a two-way centerman that's reliable. And in the preseason, to me, from what I seen, he came as advertised, and that's something that the Leafs have missed in a long time. Like having a good big 6'4", 200-pound two-way centerman that could play both sides of the ice, that could be physical, and not only that, but has a championship pedigree. But this is after Ryan O'Reilly. I liked O'Reilly, but I didn't like the way he left. He didn't have to leave like that. Ryan O'Reilly, I'm still mad about that, bro. You should have never left.
Ryan O'Reilly and Jason, there's smoke there still.
Yeah, man, it burns, bro. Yo, listen, as soon as we traded for this guy from St. Louis, I bought this guy's jersey. They didn't have it, so they had to like put the name on the back of it. I put a Boré slamming patch on it, bro, because I thought this guy was gonna stay here, bro. This guy was very instrumental in helping the Leafs get past Tampa in the first round. And yeah, whatever, they folded against Florida in the second round, fine, whatever. But yo, bro, I thought this guy was gonna stay, bro.
Nah, he said nah. He got his he had his time being a Maple Leaf. He said nah, I'm out. I'm done. I'm done. You know what? I'm moving on. I'm moving on with my 10 years in my career.
Yo, bro, I think the lights were too bright. But you know what it is though? And I seen a good comment on the internet today, which was about the Jays pitcher, Trey Savage.
Yes.
And it said that certain people are built to play sports in Toronto. And I'm not just talking about what Savage did today, bro, with the 11 strikeouts. I'm not even just talking about that.
Mhm.
But the way he's approached the game, the way he's built himself up, and the way he admires the fan base and he cares about the fan base, bro, shows you that he's built to play in Toronto. O'Reilly was built to play in Toronto, yes, but he wasn't built to play in Toronto. You know what I'm saying? It's like one
Mm.
of those.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and we saw, yeah, those you might have missed at the time of this taping. The Jays are up 2-0 in their ALDS series over New York Yankees. Of course, when it comes out, Trey Savage, 11 strikeouts in his first playoff start in the major leagues in a postseason game. Trey Savage had ice water in his veins. That's a guy that knows the moment. That's a confident 22-year-old pitcher. That was amazing.
Oh, that was beautiful to see. And he no hit the Yankees, the Bronx Bombers, the New York. He no hit them for 5 1/3 or 2/3 or however many thirds innings, bro. He no hit them, dog. That I don't even think that's ever been done as long as I've been watching baseball. I don't. I know this is a hockey pod, but here we watch all sports. But just to touch on it, I don't think that's ever been. I think this guy created history today. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you, Savage, man, and shout out to Vladimir Guerrero. Between yesterday and today, Vladimir Guerrero has accomplished more than what Mitch Marner has accomplished in the postseason. And and
Here we
and in the
go.
words of David Ortiz, Big Papi, Yankees lose.
Yo, how did I know this was so? How did I know to get back to y'all call out Mitch Marner somehow?
Listen, man, stats are stats, and you can see it just goes back to you can see who is built to play in Toronto and who's not built to play in Toronto, but plays in Toronto. Marner was a guy that was built to play in Toronto based off of the way he came up. You know what I mean? He came through all of the best like leagues in Toronto, built himself up, played for the London Knights, did damage over there, then got drafted by the Leafs. He was built to play in Toronto, but at the end of the day, when it counted, when it mattered the most, when we needed number 16, Mitch Marner the most, he just wasn't built to play in Toronto. Like I seen the clip on Amazon, and Mitch Marner's like, "Come on, guys, come on." Yo, nobody respects this guy in the locker room, bro. Nobody respects this guy in the locker room. They all knew at that time and point. They all knew when he was acting like that in the locker room. They knew he was out the door, bro. They knew.
I mean, it's kind of funny to see how, Martin was trying to invoke that passion, and it was clear in some way or form it wasn't clicking with that in that locker room. It was beyond clear that they needed a fresh start somewhere. It was beyond clear.
100%, bro. But that's in the past. Right now, we got to work on the future here. I kind of like what Troy said earlier, just to touch on it before you change the subject,
Mhm.
in regards to the Leafs waiting to make moves. Troy, I definitely agree 100%. No need to rush to make moves. Just go with what you have. When you need to make moves, then you make your moves.
Yeah,
Go.
absolutely. Well, you don't need to rush any of this yet. The season's still young. I mean, I know technically it hasn't started yet, but the season is still young. Absolutely no need to be hitting any sort of panic buttons quite yet.
I mean, if you could like slide in a Jack Roslovich or a winger that could fit the way Nylander and Tavares play, if McMahon is not excelling or moving the way you want him to move, then yeah. But I mean, like, there's no need to like do that right away. Like, you don't need to rush and do that. If Roslovich signs, you just got to move money around. You know what I'm saying? But if you're gonna trade, like I'd rather wait to the deadline when the prices are like 50% off. Well, maybe not to the Maple Leafs, but every other team in the NHL, because the Leafs, we always have to pay a Toronto Maple Leaf tax, right? But like you said, Troy, there's no need to rush, bro.
As you go from Leafs talk to talk around the league, the preseason ended with one of the more absurd games you're going to see in a very long time, as Tampa Bay and Florida renewed the Battle of Florida in a game that just went beyond heated. Over 300 pims between, between Florida and Tampa Bay. So many fights, so much drama, and in a game in which a thing which you'll never see, you might not see again, an ineligible player being a part of a goal and the goal being wiped off the board. Tampa and Florida had one of the more out of control preseason games you're ever going to see. And it was one, to me, in which the NHL didn't look good for a few reasons when it came to Tampa and Florida's kerfuffle this weekend here. Because one, first of all, let's start with the fact that yes, Florida won 7-0, but it could have been 8-0 if officials did not realize that Miko Mikkola, who was involved in a fight late in this game, was given a gameless conduct and came back onto the ice and insisted on a goal, which had to be taken off the board. First of all, I look at that and I think to myself, officials have to know immediately who after game, who can play, who can't play. It's clear that it's preseason for everybody. It's clear that Paul Maurice and whoever else got Mikola back onto the ice. No one was paying attention. That to me cannot happen because by NHL rulebook, a player who's been ejected, who returns to play again, should be assessed or is supposed to be assessed an automatic 10-game suspension. And we're not sure that's going to happen yet. And then you also had dangerous hits from guys like Carter Verhaeghe, and it was hits on Brandon Hagel, and it was a game in which the punishment and suspensions were skewed towards punishments more towards Tampa than Florida, and it was just a game in which it was a bad look overall for the officials, NHL headquarters. This kind of thing cannot happen again. And there needs to be a meeting of, I feel, NHL HQ. We need to correct things because this can't happen again when people already float out there the idea that, oh, we're pro Florida, we're this, we're that. Like, it looked incompetent, and for a Big Four league, that kind of game, I don't care if it's preseason, but that kind of game cannot happen again, fellas. I'll start with you, Jason, on that.
Man, that those two preseason games between Tampa Bay and Florida had over, I want to say, 500 penalty minutes or close to it, bro. And in the first game, with the cheap shot on Brandon Hagel, and for me, like not to see anything come down from the Department of Player Stupidity, I mean the Department of Player Safety, bro, is just wild, bro. That's diabolical behavior, bro. Holy smokes, bro. Are you kidding me, bro? That is just crazy, bro. That first game that they played in the preseason, and remember, you got to remember too, Ego has like concussion issues from Ekblad, bro. Ekblad was the guy. Like, Ekblad is a greasy guy. He's a greasy hockey player, bro. And he's playing the game the right way in some aspects, but the physical aspect of it, like when you see a guy exposed, I get it, like you're trying to like take advantage of this situation, bro. But like you gotta think, like this guy has a career too, and he's trying to feed his family, bro. You're taking food off of his table, bro. So that second game, Avery, in my opinion, was like a revenge game for Tampa because before the game, Patrick Maroon was on TV saying how Tampa's calling up all their AHL fight guys. They called up Scott Sabrin and all these guys that fight
Mm-hmm.
that like lead the league in penalty minutes. What did you think was gonna happen, bro? Did Florida think that Tampa was just gonna like go to the side and just okay, yeah, you could take advantage? Florida's a very like they're a good hockey team when it comes to playing hockey, but they're very dirty at playing hockey. If that makes any sense. Look what they did. Look what Sam Bennett did to Stolars to take Stolars out the series. You know what I mean? Like they do some greasy stuff, bro, and they continuously get away with it. And I think it's just stupid. The Department of Player Stupidity, or I mean, sorry, the Department of Player Safety, they just need to fix up and do better. This is ridiculous, bro. This is so ridiculous. Like I get it. Like Tampa's mad. Like Ekblad, I felt he got exactly what he deserved last night. Just looking at the clips, he got what he deserved. That hit by Heggie, that's a 5-game suspension at the very least. Going in full speed, this guy's numbers are against like to his back, and he's hitting his numbers face first into the board. Like that's you're trying to kill him, bro. Like why are you trying to kill the man for, bro? Like the man is just trying to make a food to put on his table, bro. That's
Mm-hmm.
wild, bro. That's so wild, bro. Like, and the thing is, what burns me the most is that like when player safety finally says something, bro, player safety is just going after all the Tampa players. Not one Florida Panther was on that list. And if anybody should have been on the list, it's the guy that you said, Avery. That guy got ejected from a game, which means that it should have been like up to a 10-game suspension. This guy doesn't even need a hearing for that. Like, what do you mean, bro? So this is how this season is gonna go, bro. Bro, yo, I don't know. I'm out of words, bro.
Like it was just, it can't happen again. Troy, what are your thoughts on just the mayhem between Florida and Tampa in this preseason?
So I am when we I know we discussed this before we actually hit record.
Mhm.
It's shocking and appalling to see so much animosity during a preseason game. Um, because the Department of Player Stupidity got involved, and Jason, you were right the first time. You didn't need to correct yourself. Because the Department of Player Stupidity got involved. Um, I was neither shocked nor surprised that the Panthers got absolutely nothing out of any of this. Um, in regards to the automatic 10 game suspension. Okay, so Rule 70.6 in the NHL rulebook under leaving the bench. It says a game misconduct penalty shall be imposed on the player who was the first or second player to leave the players or penalty bench during an altercation for the purposes of starting an altercation from either or both teams. Any penalized player leaving the penalty bench during a stoppage of play and during an altercation shall incur a minor penalty plus a game misconduct penalty. The minor penalty plus the unexpired time remaining in his original penalty must be served by a replacement player placed on the bench by the penalty bench by the coach of the offending team. Any player who has been ordered to the dressing room by the officials and returns to his bench or to the ice surface for any reason before the appropriate time shall be assessed a game misconduct and shall be suspended automatically without pay for the next 10 regular season league and or playoff games. Once a player enters the penalty bench, he must not leave until his penalty expires, and his team is entitled to an additional player on the ice, or at the end of a period to proceed to his dressing room, or when he has received permission from an on ice official. At any other time, he shall be assessed a game misconduct penalty under this rule. So it seems like based on this specific rule, and this is my interpretation of it. I don't know if this is actually correct. This seems like this wouldn't warrant a 10 game suspension because he didn't come off the bench to start a fight. Um, I guess because he was already involved in one. Again, like this is a lapse in judgment on the referees. Again, one because they let the game get away from them, and two for not making sure he went down the tunnel before play resumed. Because like when a player in the NFL gets disqualified for whatever the reason is, I've never seen play resume while he's still on the field or on his bench. They make sure that homeboy's gone down the tunnel first, and then they resume play. If you guys remember when Todd Bertuzzi and Marcus Naslund were in Vancouver, there was a season when Todd Bertuzzi literally had a point per game every game that season, except for the 10 he missed. And you know why he missed 10 games? Because he left the bench to join a fight. That is an automatic, and that's what everybody learned about this rule was that it's an automatic 10 game suspension once you leave the bench to join a fight. I really don't think that 10 game suspension will apply here because that honestly, that's the referee's fault for not making sure that he was gone. So I don't think anything more will come of it from that point. Um, but again, like I'm not surprised that the Department of Player Stupidity managed to screw this up already. I mean, like it's preseason, but they're already in mid-season form and screwing all the the discipline up.
Yeah, thanks for that, Troy. And yeah, the way you read the way the rule is interpreted, you're right. The league might see it more as in that aspect. They might try to say it more as well. He didn't leave to join a brawl. He left a situation that was diffused and came back. Yeah, they might see it more as referee's error, or they might say it as this wasn't him returning from a brawl or getting or being a third man in. They might view it differently as to how he was let back on the ice. So I could see that as a way for them to get around the suspension. But either way, you're right. in the same way of football, basketball, if players ejected, game does not resume until that player is in the tunnel or clearly away from the playing area and cannot return. So that was an error. Some way, somehow, he got back onto the bench. No one was paying attention but the Panthers, clearly, and he was able to get on and contribute to a goal. On other leagues, that would not happen. There would be no way to sneak a player back on because you're right. The officials and also too, arena security would make sure that this player is going to lockers. The big thing you'll see as well too, when a player is ejected in the NFL or the NBA or MLB, the security staff for the teams will also escort those players to the locker room, to the clubhouse. And that should have happened where arena security in Florida made sure Mikola went to the dressing room as well.
Yeah, but like they can't plan to officiate the season like this, bro. Like I understand you gotta okay, we're all human beings, we're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Refs are gonna make mistakes. Official being an official in any type of professional sports is a tough job.
Hmm.
Because there's gonna be times where you get it right and there's gonna be times that you get it wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're an official, you know what I'm saying, and shit's getting out of hand, you gotta take a minute to compose yourself and talk with your other comrades to make sure that the game is being played the right way. You know what I mean? And if you see shit starting to get out of hand, you as an official, you have to be able to step in and intervene and try and build back up the vibes and the energy in the game to where the game is being played the right way. And I just think it's a bunch of horse shit that certain teams, I'm not even talking about like the tax-free shit. I'm just saying in general, certain teams that do foul shit continuously get away with it. And honestly, like it's I'll always watch hockey, you know what I'm saying? As a black dude, I always watch hockey, but it's like not fun to watch because like you see this when we play the Panthers, oh, we're gonna see a man get high sticked or we're gonna I was watching a game in the preseason. Here's a perfect example. And I feel like this is the way like hockey should be played. So Dylan Larkin took a run at Stollers and clipped him with his elbow. And I don't know, me when I watch hockey, I pay attention to everything, every player behind the play. I have my TV where I can pause it and rewind and fast forward. So if I miss something, I kind of just go back and I watch it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I seen Matthew Nyes elbow a rookie in the face, like with the butt of the elbow. And I'm like, okay, eye for an eye. And it was behind the refs, so they didn't catch it. You know what I mean? The refs didn't catch the refs saw the clip to Stoller's head, but then the refs missed the clip that Nyes did. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, if you're playing like that, like okay, I get it, but like that Florida Tampa shit was just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it was. And don't get me wrong, like there were 13 ejections, there were 13 game misconduct. It's a lot of people to keep track of. It's a lot of chaos happening all around you. But again, you got to double check and triple check to make sure everything is in order. And again, I'm glad this is a rare thing. It doesn't happen very much. But still, either way, everybody's got to make sure everybody's ducks are in a row before you resume play. You have to. No, you have no choice. But yeah, no, it's a thing where, and I get the frustration from fans of other fan bases when they see that because the perception continues that there's golden franchises, right or wrongly. That's perception that people do see of certain organizations in the NHL.
And Avery, the biasness needs to stop. Treat each team equally, bro. The Florida Panthers are not the only team in the NHL, bro, that should be able to get to do whatever they want, how they want, when they want. Now, look, Barkov is injured. Tachuk is injured. So what's going to happen next now? They're going to manipulate the cap? You know what I'm saying? Like, what
Well,
are they going to do? Manipulate the salary cap to get Malkin and Crosby combination in Florida? And then just before the playoffs, what are they going to do? They're going to activate Barkov and then run a top and then have Barkov, Bennett, Crosby, Malkin. Like, what is this, bro? Like, just fix it, bro. Like, just stop favoring the Florida Panthers, bro.
well, they
Stop it,
well,
bro.
well they can't anymore because the league now put in that the playoff salary cap now because remember we had the whole ironically it was people mad at the Lightning and Vegas for doing that, which was in the rules, which was legal, but now that manipulation is no longer possible now with the fact that we have a playoff cap now coming in this season.
You're right, Avery. That's right. That took place in the CBA agreements over the
Hmm.
summertime. You're
Yes.
right. I stand corrected, sir. I stand corrected.
Yes, so the salary cap antics can no longer happen. Although, again, hey, I was very much, my viewpoint was always it was in the rules. The loophole was there. Do what you got to do. But now they've closed that loophole. So now it'll be interesting to see what happens now because you mentioned Barkov. Barkov is out for 5 months, and I know he wants to come back earlier, but the realistic timeline is gonna be 5 to 6 months. And again, I don't know what Florida's is gonna do because you can't go out and load up like you could in years past. That's now against the rules, against the playoff cap. So it'll be interesting to see what teams have to do now, knowing that they can't go buck wild after the trade deadline or during the trade deadline. It'll be interesting to see what happens come March, April, May. So we'll see. We'll definitely
Yeah,
see.
the Florida's gonna do a buddy trade. Don't worry. You wait. You wait for the buddy trade. You wait for the buddy trade. Florida Panthers decide to send a first in 2049 to acquire Sidney Crosby from the watch. You wait.
Ha!
You
Yeah,
wait.
we'll, we'll, we'll definitely see what happens there with that. But as we start to wind things down here on the third intermission, another topic I want to get into here on the podcast. It's a light night for show topics as we get into the regular season here next week. It was a topic that Troy brought up in our group chat earlier, and it's a fun one. I do think there's a few milestones that will be more likely that will be reached by a few players this year. A few mentioned here. Alex Ovechkin is approaching 900 goals. Nikita Kucherov is approaching 1,000, approaching 400 goals. Chris Letang is approaching 600 assists, and Sergei Bobrovsky is approaching 50 shutouts. I'll start with you, Troy. Which of these records do you think, or which of these milestones, sorry, do you think a player hits first among the ones that are listed?
Draisaitl. I think that's
Yeah.
probably the easiest one. Um, I'm pretty sure I saw Jason put this in the group chat. I feel like he's probably getting this within the first like 5 or 10 minutes of who they play first. What it says here, Calgary.
Calgary. Yes,
Yeah,
Calgary first.
yeah, yeah. I think Draisaitl gets it first. Um, I think who's the next person to get something? I'm gonna say Bobrovsky's gonna get that 50 shutouts because he's playing Chicago first. So I mean, I don't know how much Chicago has done to improve their team to surround Connor Bedard. Um, I know they picked up some veteran players, but I mean, like, is that going to be enough to prevent them from getting a donut on the first night of the season? The last person to on this list to get their milestone, I really feel like it might be Chris Letang. Um, Ovechkin is a man on a mission, and honestly, had he not missed those 16 games last year, he wouldn't even be on this list because he would already have it. But yeah, I think it's entirely possible that Tang's the last one on this list to reach his milestone, and I definitely think Draisaitl is going to be the first one to do it.
Yeah, it feels like Dry is gonna get that. Like it feels like Dry is gonna want to come out of the gate hot in game one against Calgary. He's always been able to put the points against the Flames, and Draisaitl knows the moment. So it feels like we're gonna get that early Oilers power play. He'll go to his zone. He'll go to his spot, get the one timer for 400 goals. It feels inevitable that Leon's gonna get that on night one. What about you, Jason? Which milestone do you think a player hits first?
Night one, Leon for sure, 100%. Latang, I see he'll probably because remember he's still playing with Sid and Malkin, right? Those guys are
Mm-hmm.
gonna make sure that Latang reaches his milestone because those guys were a core in a cup, you know, like those guys were a core together. They've been playing with each other for so long that all they've been doing is trying to help each other excel for all these years in Pittsburgh. So Latang will definitely get it, and I think yeah, Leon definitely night one. And what was the other milestone?
There's Kucherov He needs 6 more for 1,000 points. Ovechkin
With
needs 3 for 900. Letang needs 3 assists for 600, and Bobrovsky needs 1 donut for 50
okay, so
shutouts.
I'm gonna say within the first 10 games of this season, this regular season, at least 80% of those milestones by those players will be hit. Kucherov for sure, Ovechkin for sure. Ovechkin's not gonna waste time. You guys know this about Ovi. He doesn't waste time. That's one thing about this guy. As soon as they get a power play, where does he go? He goes to his spot. So Ovechkin. So yeah, for sure. Leon for sure. Night one, I think. Yeah, within 10 games. Yeah, I think all those milestones hit within the 10 games, the first 10 games of the regular season. But I just don't know who's gonna hit. I think Leon has the best chance of hitting first. One power play and it's
If there's
done.
Oh, for sure. If there's one thing I can say that I'm glad that the Leafs aren't any of these guys' first 3 teams.
Yeah,
Because you know how
yeah.
the Leafs have this awful habit of being the answer to a Trivial Pursuit question when it comes to who's the other player's milestone.
What team did? Yeah, no, for real, for real. Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, no, we're lucky. We play Montreal, so nobody has no milestones over there, so we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
For sure.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, that's yeah, yeah, you guys are lucky. Yeah, there's no chance right now any of these guys hitting the milestones against the Leafs. Although I know this group chat is going to be crazy because December 13th it is Edmonton, Toronto in Toronto, and I know y'all are going to be if a certain somebody hasn't signed their contract yet by then, I know this chat is going to be ridiculous, and I'm sure the comments are going to be coming in at that morning presser for Mr. McDavid at the Scotiabank Arena.
Listen, guys, like, let's be real. Like, in order to like acquire McDavid's services this year would be next to impossible. I don't think we have a trade package to give Edmonton Connor McDavid because even if we did
Y'all
have a
don't.
trade package, it wouldn't be enough. This is what I'm saying to you, right? And I'm not trading us.
Oh, hang on, Jason, you broke up just now.
Austin Matthews to get Connor McDavid too. Is that? Oh, am I there? You guys can hear me? Check, check,
You're good. You're good.
check.
You're good.
Okay, cool, 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 cool. What I was gonna say is that it's not gonna happen this season as far as a trade for Connor. No, it's not gonna happen like that. It's gonna be in free agency. Edmonton has one job to do, Avery. They need to get line in regards to that deal. Like, and I'm saying that because that's what needs to happen. But the evil part of me is like saying, yo, screw Edmonton, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just come home, bro. Like, you know you want to come home, bro. You know what I'm saying? But Edmonton, if as an organization, they need to show their series, they need to get to the finish line. You know what I mean? That's what they need to do with this deal. Because if they don't, by December 13th, like you said, Avery, it's going to start. I don't think he's going to want to do it in the season. He's going to take a page out of minor playbook as far as that goes. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. But yeah, you're right when you say that. They Edmonton, I don't know what to say, Avery, in regards to that. I don't know what to say. I don't know why this deal is taking so long. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something happening in Edmonton. I don't know what's happening, but like if I'm Edmonton, I'm giving this guy a Brinks truck, endorsements, maybe 5 more Brinks trucks to make this guy stay. Like, yo, you want me to take a 1-8 goalie? With
Oh, hang on. I think Jason just dropped it. There we go. Now he's back.
Oh
Jason,
man, yeah, I'm here, bro. I was just talking, but the thing cut off. I don't know what happened there, bro. Sorry, man. But yeah, no. I was just saying, yeah, Edmonton needs to get to the finish line with this deal, bro. Edmonton needs to get to the finish line, bro.
no, I do believe they will. I do believe that this front office will make it happen. He will not be looking at anything too belabored much longer with this deal. It's gonna get done. It's gonna have to get done. But yeah, no team, whoever it is, has enough to trade for Connor McDavid. But I do believe this will be taken care of and you'll go into the season opener against the Flames with this settled, be it 3, 4, or 5 year extension in Edmonton. And he is home in his yard with his heated driveway. What do you mean?
No, man, he's not home. No, me I talk about Yasso. Right now he's over Deso. He has to be Yasso, bro. In the trenches, real thing, bro. He has to be in the trenches. Avery, right now, we just you guys have Connor McDavid. You guys gotta sign him, brother. You guys got Edmonton is gonna be in shambles if they don't sign this guy, bro.
They'll get it done. They will get it done. And as we wrap up here on third intermission, I want to say any final thoughts before we wrap up, guys. I'll swing it to you, Troy. Any final thoughts?
Um, I'm just looking forward to a good season. I hope everybody plays well, everybody succeeds, especially the Maple Leafs. Um, on opening night, the Jays also play, assuming that game is needed. Here's hoping it's not. Um, Go Jays, go! Keep roughing up the Yankee Dam. Um, yeah. Other than that, I just hope everybody has a good week, a good, healthy, positive, productive week. Um, and I hope everybody drinks water and just minds their business.
Good stuff, Jason. What are you saying? What are your final thoughts, good sir?
Final thoughts. I hope everyone, like Troy said, has a good week coming up. Like peace, prosperity, blessings, positive vibrations for everyone and their families. For the week. It's definitely a go, Jays. You know what I'm saying? Try and get her done in three. You're sending out Bieber in Game 3 in New York. Rodon from New York, the pitcher, the Yankees pitcher, he has a 4.6 something ERA against the Jays. He has 2 wins and 3 losses, or I think it's the other way around. So the Jays just need to just keep playing Blue Jay baseball, man. Belts to ass, man. Let's go Blue Jays and go Leafs, go. And yeah, man, definitely want to drink water and just mind your business.
Good stuff, fellas. Okay, like we said, by the time this show goes up, we'll be all ready for regular season hockey. Preseason gone. Finally done. With that being said, we are out of here. Until next week, stay safe. Third intermission is done, and thank you once again for letting us grace the space in between your head top.